I think my girlfriend has been trying to get me fired from all my jobs. I'm shaken, please help me. Hey, I'm Bear and this is my 10th Reddit video. And because it's the 10th, I thought I would make it special. I'm going to be pointing out the red flags and the green flags and explaining each of them. If I miss any, or if you don't agree with any of them, don't be afraid to let me know in the comments. I'm M24, and I've been with girlfriend F29, let's call her Janice, for 2.5 years. I just finished my education when we started dating, and I have been doing all sorts of jobs since. Sometimes 2 at a time. I did this to expand my resume and to gather job experience. I worked at cafes, bookstores, a library, a grocery store, and as an English tutor. Most of those jobs lasted around 3 to 5 months. My shortest stay was 2.5 weeks, my longest 8 months. But since I didn't have a hard time applying for new positions, I tried to block it out, though it was kind of eating me up internally. I'm gonna be honest, this is a bit of a red flag. It's a fairly minor one, but I think that OP should have probably been going to their employers asking what to improve on for future jobs, even if they're not gonna get their old job back, just to know how to self-reflect and do better in the future. Again, I think it's a fairly minor one, but if this is a constant pattern, maybe after like the third time, the second time, it should have been an opportunity to start self-reflecting a little bit and asking what to work on and why this is happening. People called to complain about me. People left bad reviews about me, and people used my employee Wi-Fi access to look up sketchy things on the internet under my name. Former employees called to inform them about me. Right name and all, and much more subtle stuff that I could disprove, but I was too anxious to do anything about it. Honestly, that's understandable. I am honestly a bit of a pushover, so I feel like I would definitely be too anxious in that moment to do anything. I definitely think with career choices, you do have to be a little more assertive and be more confident in what you want. But yeah, I think that maybe just like asking what the customer said in particular, trying to improve on that. Even though, again, as we probably know by the title, the girlfriend is the one calling in, but I probably would have been trying my best to figure out what to do and what to better, especially if this is a repetitive pattern. I just told my girlfriend. She comforted me. She supported me every time I got my life ruined by these people. The girlfriend comforting OP is a red flag. While it is a good thing to comfort your significant other, in this case, it's because of a hero complex or a variation of the Munchausen syndrome by proxy. In an abusive dynamic, the perpetrator deliberately creates a crisis behind the scenes solely so they can swoop in, to offer comfort and look like the savior. And honestly, it manipulates the victim into feeling comforted by someone that they shouldn't. But I kept going, though they kept finding me. Fast forward this week, I currently hold a part-time position at a bakery. I've been working there for 2.5 months and it's going okay, but my manager approached me about something regarding our Google reviews. Someone was complaining about an employee, and the description of them could only really fit me. It was on a day where we were pretty short on staff, so I could have been the only person in the store on that day for all I know. Anyway, their review contained some pretty elaborate and nasty comments about me. This happened on 1 or 2 of my jobs already. I told the manager that it was all pretty bogus and someone had a personal vendetta against me, as it has happened before. She believed me and told me that she'll dismiss the comment. This is a green flag. Corporate bosses often fire employees over a single bad digital review. She listened to OP, trusted his character, and protected his employment, which gave the OP breathing room he finally needed to uncover the truth. On my break, I checked out the review myself. Their username is kinda stupid. I'm not gonna type it out here since I still work there, but I'll just call them Mick Myrtle, as it was the same range of sounds kinda fake but not really. Anyways, I come home and don't really tell Janice about it. She's heard it all before, so I didn't see the point in complaining about another time I lost my job position. Again, this is a red flag. In a healthy relationship, your partner is your safe harbor. When things go wrong, you should be able to turn to them. When you start hiding massive stressors because you feel like a burden or because you're exhausted by the repetition of your own trauma, it has shown the relationship has become an unsafe space of survival rather than mutual support. We chat, all is well, and she leaves the room. Her phone is on the table, and suddenly she gets a notification or an email of some sort from Google. I don't remember what it said exactly, but the pop-up reads something along the lines, Mick Myrtle, manager has responded to your review. My heart dropped. I've been trying to ignore it since. This was 2 days ago. It just fit in the picture of bad reviews. It fit in the picture of phone complaints my workplaces have received about me in the past. It fits in the picture of all the sketchy things I've been fired for. Why would she do that though? I'm looking for an explanation. This literally can't be. She's the only thing keeping me sane. I don't know what to do. This, again, is a red flag. This is the ultimate goal of coercive control. By ensuring OP kept losing jobs, Janice successfully destroyed his financial independence, his self-esteem, and his professional network. He has become entirely isolated, relying solely on his abuser for a sense of reality and survival. The fact that she is the only thing keeping him sane indicates that he is relying solely on his abuser for a sense of reality and survival. It is not a good thing to be that reliant on your significant other. While you are in a relationship, you should still have your independence and ability to function on your own. Okay, so we have an update. Hello everyone. Hello people who are still invested. I'm sorry for not updating you guys earlier, a lot has been going on. First of all, yes, we broke up. That's why I'll be referring to her as my ex from now on. Anyways, let's start from the beginning. On the Monday, the following week, I couldn't take the uncertainty anymore. I told my ex I needed her booking account to book a train ticket to visit my dad for a few days. She complied, and when she was in the shower getting ready for work, I booked my ticket and started looking through her emails. After some digging, I found an email to herself, which contained a spreadsheet file. I sent the file to myself, printed it out, and took a screenshot. This is a green flag. It shows immense presence of mind during a high panic situation. That is honestly very hard to do, and I applaud OP for that. By preserving the digital evidence immediately, OP protected himself legally and has ensured that his ex could never gaslight him into believing he imagined it later on. The spreadsheet contained about every single information about me that there was. Numbers, emails, passwords, work times, colleagues, their numbers and social medias, as well as some emails and passwords that she used for accounts to ruin my life with. Everything was on there, conveniently sorted out for her to ruin my life as efficiently as possible. When she left for work, I decided it would be best to immediately pack my stuff. Nothing that mattered would be left behind. Many victims of long-term manipulation freeze, confront the abuser, which is incredibly dangerous, or accept false excuses. Obi has undeniable proof. His survival instincts kicked in, and he recognized danger and chose not to waste time before arguing, and completely removed himself from the environment. The speed at which OP moved at behind the scenes is incredible. I felt like a wanted man, like I was being hunted, despite nothing being seemingly out of place. I called for my boss, told her I would be taking some time off from work, and headed out to see my dad. Needless to say, he was the sanity I needed. I cried about everything I saw. I panicked for a whole 2 days straight about how my life was ruined and I didn't know what to do, and he had to sleep on the couch in the guest room because I was so scared of my ex coming in. I love that the dad didn't question OP's story, minimize his fears, or tell him to tough it out. He validated OP's terror completely and physically modified his own sleeping arrangement just to make sure that his son feels safe. The fact that he has someone like his father to rely on is really good. He handled it like a champ. I love you, Dad. He called the police, a lawyer, and most recently a therapist for me, because I was in the most horrible state of my life. We're currently sorting out the legal stuff, and I haven't talked to my ex except for letting her know that it was over and that she's a sick psychopath. And my dad handled the rest. Being able to step in and do the heavy lifting, the legal, protective, and medical, is incredible. Especially when OP is down and feeling like he's unable to do anything. I changed all my passwords and now I'm looking for a place to live. Both are green flags. He has a list of exactly what passwords he needs to change, and then also not being in a location where she knows he will be. I also recommend probably switching jobs, unfortunately, but I think it would be a nice fresh start to not have that looming over him while he's working there. Sorry for the brief update, my mind is tangled. Please ask questions if you want to know more. Edit, by the way, thank you to every single person who gave me advice, talked to me over DMs, and was generally concerned about me. I appreciate every single one of you. Update, we ended up not taking her to court over it. This is quite controversial considering the abhorrent thing she has done to me, but I do not regret this decision. The satisfaction of seeing her get punished would be overshadowed by the sheer amount of dread, anxiety, and fear I would face in those court hearings. I was a mess, and I couldn't eat for weeks without throwing up. My dad had to settle most of the important stuff because I physically couldn't. Thank you, Dad. Again, this is a green flag of a dad, but I do think there is a bit of a red flag. on OP's part. I think OP has a bit of a codependency issue, and this was also made apparent previously when he had stated that his significant other was the only thing keeping him sane. I do think that OP needs to learn a little more of independence. While it's nice that the dad acted entirely out of love and necessity during a medical/mental crisis, this level of total intervention is a codependency issue. When a parent takes complete control of adult child's legal, financial, and physiological steps, it can accidentally cause the victim to reinforce the idea that they cannot survive or handle crises on their own. On the bright side, our lawyer settled the situation beautifully in private. I haven't had any problems with her since, that I'm aware of. I've moved houses and got a stable job and found the closure and justice I was looking for through therapy. I hope she did as well. Honestly, I'm glad he switched the job as well. He's now starting from scratch and he no longer has us looming over him as he works at that place. It's also nice to hear that he has found professional help. We've had zero contact since then, and I still haven't read any of the messages she sent me those years ago. Even years later, OP is still terrified, hypervigilant, and does feel probably like a wanted man. Because he's never allowed to face the closure he needs, and I think that it would be best that if whoever OP is more comfortable with, whether it be the dad or the therapist, at some point OP should read over those messages. It can open a wound that probably should be left closed, but I think for the clearance of mind, I think it's best that OP does read over those at some point. Of course, I'm nowhere near done with my journey. I still have a lot of social media accounts to set to private and insist on keeping a low profile online. I still get anxiety, especially when there's problems at work, but I haven't had any panic attacks in months and my therapist has been great. I don't know how she's doing. I don't know if she's moved on or if she's seen this story float around the web. Hello YouTube, hello TikTok, and hello Snapchat. I don't know how much she knows about how my life is currently going, but nothing has happened since that I could attribute to her schemes. Sorry if this update is kinda a jumbled mess. I just woke up and repressed a lot of what happened. Thank you all for your kind messages. Honestly, it's great to see all the development that has happened over time with OP. I think this is something, unfortunately, that will loom over OP for the rest of their life. So I think it is one of those situations where you just have to do your best really to move on. And I think OP has been working at that beautifully and has really improved over the years. That is all for this Reddit video. If you liked this red flag, green flag, I would love to do it again at some point. So just let me know in the comments, and that is all. Much love. Bye bye.